Oh my God. Okay. So this is one of those stories where you just have to sit down and spill everything. You know, like what happened with me and Billy, honestly, it's a lot. And I know people have their opinions, but they don't know the whole story. They just see the messy parts. So listen, because it's so much more complicated than anyone realizes. This whole thing with me and Billy, it's a true story. And between you and me, I feel like I'm finally ready to talk about it all. It started back in 2018. I think, yeah, the summer of 2018. I was at this food festival downtown with my friends, just a bunch of us hanging out. And we were standing in line for this BBQ place that everyone was raving about. It was one of those perfect summer days, music playing. Everyone was just vibing. I was just laughing with my girls. And then I turned around and I saw him, Billy. He was a few people behind me. And he just gave me this smile, a really nice, quiet smile. And I don't know, I just felt a little something. So I smiled back. He was cute, you know, not like super hot, but cute in a regular, normal way. He had this easygoing vibe. After we got our food, he came over and said something about the line. Like, I hope these ribs are worth it. Right. And I just laughed. And we started talking. His name was Billy. And he was 30. And he worked at some warehouse, which, okay, wasn't exactly glamorous. But he was sweet. He seemed genuinely interested in me. We sat on the curb and just talked for hours. My friends left, but I stayed. By the end of the night, I had his number, and I was so excited. That whole first month was a whirlwind. We texted nonstop. He was so sweet and attentive, always asking about my day. It felt so easy with him. You know, like, we just clicked. He was a little more reserved than I was, but I liked that. It felt solid. Within a month, we were official, and things just moved so fast. We were inseparable. Every weekend was spent together. He would take me out to these cute little restaurants, or we'd just stay in and watch movies. I was so into him, and I just knew this was it. He was the kind of guy who would just do anything for me, and I felt so special. By the spring of 2019, he proposed. People said it was fast, but honestly, it felt right. He was so steady and dependable. He wasn't like the other guys I had dated, who were all over the place. Billy was grounded, and honestly, I needed that. We got married later that year. Just a small, low-key wedding with our families. I was so happy. I really thought I had found my person, my rock. It felt like everything was finally falling into place. My life was finally going to be what I had always imagined. The fairy tale was happening. But then, after the honeymoon phase wore off, things started getting real. I was working at a retail store, and my boss was a total nightmare. Honestly, she was a bitch. She was constantly on my case, nitpicking everything I did. And I just couldn't deal with it. I'd come home exhausted and in tears. And Billy, he saw how much it was affecting me. He tried to be supportive, but he didn't really get it. He just kept saying I should quit. But I couldn't just quit without a plan. Right. It was easy for him to say that because he had his job. He started working more, pulling all this overtime, like 60 hours a week sometimes. He said it was so I wouldn't have to stress about money, and I could take a break and find something better. It was sweet, in theory. But between us, all that extra work just made things worse. He was always tired. Like, constantly, he'd come home and just crash. And that's when things started to change. He was so exhausted all the time that he was never in the mood for intimacy. And it's not like I didn't try. I did. But he was just not there. And after a while, I started taking it personally. How could he not be attracted to me? We barely even touched anymore. And I felt so alone. I tried to talk to him about it, but he'd just say, I'm just tired, Melissa. Like that was supposed to be a good enough excuse. I tried to fill the time by myself. You know, I started baking. I joined a bunch of Facebook groups. I binge watched everything. But it wasn't the same. I felt this emptiness. Like something was missing, and I was hurting. I was just trying to find some kind of connection, some validation. I wasn't getting it from him. He was a great provider. Sure, he was working his butt off. But a marriage is more than just a paycheck. Right. And I felt like he had completely checked out on the emotional and physical side of things. And that's when I had to do something. I couldn't just keep living like that. So one night, I just sat him down. I told him, I think we should try an open marriage. I know, it sounds crazy. But I really thought it was the only way to fix things. I didn't mean for both of us. Obviously, I meant just for me. Because his sex drive was so low, I thought maybe I could get that part of me fulfilled somewhere else. And we could still keep the good parts of our marriage. We could still be a family, a team. We just had to be honest about our needs. I thought he would understand. He didn't say anything right away. He just looked at me, nodded, and went to bed. I thought he was just tired, that he needed to think about it. But the next morning, he was different. He was so cold. He didn't yell, didn't scream. He just packed a bag and said, "We're done." And I was so confused. I started to cry, to explain, to tell him that I had made a mistake. But he cut me off. He said he knew about the Springfield guy. And I froze. How did he know? I hadn't done anything? Not really. We were just talking. A little flirting. This guy, he was a law school professor. Super smart. And we just had this connection in a Facebook group. He was just so easy to talk to. He understood me. Billy didn't get that. Billy just saw a betrayal. He said he knew about the messages and that he was humiliated. He just walked out. He moved in with his dad. And that's when I started to unravel. I tried to make him understand, to see how hurt I was, to make him realize that this was his fault, that if he hadn't checked out, none of this would have happened. I knew I had to make him see reason. I couldn't just let him walk away. So I went to his job. I know it was a little dramatic, but I was desperate. I walked right into the warehouse, and I saw him. I just started crying, telling him I made a mistake, that I loved him. His coworkers were all peeking around corners, and he just told me to leave. I was so embarrassed and hurt. He had security escort me out. So then I went to his mom's house. I knew she loved me. I sat on her couch and just sobbed, begging her to talk to him, to convince him to take me back. But she just looked at me and said that I had ruined my chance and that she wasn't going to guilt trip her son. I couldn't believe it. Even his own mom turned on me. And then I did something I knew would get his attention. I filed a missing persons report. I know it sounds crazy, but I just wanted to make him talk to me. I wasn't really trying to get him in trouble. I just needed him to know I was worried about him. I just wanted to know he was safe. And I guess it worked, because a cop called him, and he got so mad. He just said it was another manipulative attempt to control him. He had no idea what I was going through. He didn't care about my feelings at all. He just kept acting like I was this horrible person. And at the divorce hearing, I tried one last time. I begged the judge for marriage counseling, told her I could change. And then, I don't know, something just snapped. I said that I would rather die than lose my marriage. I just needed to show them how much I was hurting, how much I needed him. The judge just told me that making threats like that wasn't acceptable. She just finalized the divorce. He just walked out. And I was left there, completely alone. I'll be real with you. The divorce broke me. I stopped going to work. I stopped seeing my friends. I just felt like I had nothing left. Mutual friends would try to reach out. But what was the point? They didn't understand. They kept telling me I needed to accept what I had done. But they didn't see what I was going through. They just saw me as some manipulative ex-wife. They didn't see that I was broken. Billy had everything. He had his dad's house, his job, his friends. He was fine. Meanwhile, I was spiraling. I lost everything. And he was just free. He got to go back to his life like nothing happened. And the worst part is, I'm the one who had to hear about it. Friends would tell me that he was doing great, that he was so much happier. He started fishing and playing guitar again, like I was the one holding him back. I mean, he was the one who was never home. He was the one who was always so tired. He created this situation. I was just trying to fix it. He even had the nerve to say that I twisted the narrative. Me. I didn't twist anything. I was just a woman with a husband who worked too much, didn't touch her enough, and left her when she was at her lowest point. He didn't care about my depression, about my struggle with my boss. He just saw what he wanted to see, and he walked away. And now he gets to act like he's this saint. Well, I'm the bad guy. I don't hate him, but I do hate that he gets to be happy and I'm still here, alone, with nothing. I had to let him go. I had to let him be happy. But what about me? I'm the one who has to pick up the pieces. Well, he gets to be a hero. He probably thinks I'm a pathetic mess, and maybe I am. I've heard he's already started seeing someone new. Some sweet, wholesome girl from his gym. Of course, just his luck. He got to move on so fast. He gets to go back to his happy life. While I'm here picking up my broken one, he probably tells everyone about the crazy ex-wife who filed a missing persons report. He gets to be the hero, and I'm just the woman who made the mistake. The villain, it's not fair. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Everything is just gone. It's just me. And I'm still trying to figure out how I ended up here. I'm sure he's going to tell his new girlfriend all about me. And she'll probably just listen and think he's the best man in the world for getting out of it. She won't ever see the full picture. She'll never know the real story. The one where I was just trying to feel seen and heard and loved. The one where I was just trying to save our marriage.